What it is, what it do, and how the hell are all of you with yours truly, Petra? I fuck back with another mother love. You already know the deal. Grab your smoke, grab your drink, and lock in with your boy, because we back with another one. Hope everybody is staying blazed, blessed, and safe. We all know if you live in the Midwest, it is snowing like a motherfucker right now. Now, it's not coming down in like feet. It's coming down inches. But y'all already know. If you from the Midwest, motherfuckers act like they don't know how to drive whenever the snow comes to falling. Y'all know what I mean? And your boy's back's about to hurt again for like the fourth day of motherfucking shuffling. So pray for your boy, because we already know I'm staying blazed, I'm staying blessed, and I'm staying safe. Now, as you can see on the screen, we got a young lady, or a young he, she, or whatever the fuck she wants to label herself as. She, as you can read, 4-year-old. Are you a girl today? 5-year-old. Yeah. Now, we're gonna play it. Now we gonna talk on it. You know what I mean?
And 4-year-old says, okay. I don't want to hear the pronouns are too hard. I don't. I just heard a 4-year-old ask a 5-year-old, are you a girl today? 5-year-old says, yeah. And 4-year-old says, okay.
So that right there, we're gonna keep it a buck all day, every day. Shout out to Libs of TikTok for finding that gem. My personal belief is off rip. The only kids that would ever say that shit are kids that are spoon fed that shit. Ain't no 4-year-old. I got 4-year-olds, bro. I've had 4-year-olds. I know. I've had friends that have had kids. I have plenty of little cousins. Get the fuck up out of here. Little kids do not ask, "Are you a boy or a girl today?" unless they are spoon fed that shit. Because most little kids know you're a boy or a girl, just because they can see. You know what I mean? Now, what I said on TikTok was, I said on Twitter was, those are her kids. Those are her kids that had that conversation, or kids that she knows that know her and her bullshit. Now, as you can see, there's a lot of people in the comments on Twitter that was saying, man, people that wear the masks alone in their car, they truly are fucking nuts, because you can tell she's alone in her car and she's wearing a mask. Now, I say it like that because you really got to be fucking crazy to have anybody try to believe that you overheard a 4-year-old and a 5-year-old talking about pronouns. And no. And see, that's where she's fucking it up. You don't get to decide what somebody recognizes you as because you want them to recognize you as that. You know what I mean? And that's one of the biggest arguments that surrounds the pronoun conversation. People that pick and choose their pronouns, whether it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, they pick and choose them. I'm a he, they, I'm he, she, I'm she, her, I'm zay, z, I'm vo, I'm pp, I'm they, all kinds of weirdo shit. And I say it like that to be as, I don't want to say as disrespectful as possible, but that's pretty much what it is, because I don't know how you could demand respect when you up and change your pronouns on a whim. Now, there's a conversation. Somebody had this I don't know what podcast it was from. It was like, you know how you see these videos and shit on TikTok, scrolling, that type of thing. On Facebook, you scrolling, YouTube, you scrolling, you know what I mean? There's this video, and the dude was saying, if you get offended by what someone says, then you are not in control of your emotions. Because it is you are in control of your emotions, whether you are offended or not. Especially if what somebody says really sets you off, then you're really not in control of your emotions. You're really just impulsive. You know what I mean? You're acting on impulse. It makes you that mad that someone misgenders you because you decided to change your gender. And I say it like that because you got dudes that got full-blown goatees that want to be referred to as he and she and her. You got dudes that do not look like women in the least, and they want to be referred to as she or her. You have women that have an Adam's apple that is more defined than most fucking men that want to be. You have men that have Adam apples that's more defined than their brethren, and they all of a sudden want to be women. You have women that have deeper voices than Morgan Freeman, Samuel L. Jackson, and they all of a sudden want to be a woman. That's fucking weird. And I say it's weird because that's the only thing you can label it as. In my eyes, it's it. You know what I mean? And I say it like that because just the last video I did, you got dudes putting on makeup that look like they just got out of the Arnold classic. The fuck, bro? You're in all of this. To me, all of this at the end of the day is attention seeking. We're gonna pull up another video, and it's a live stream that I recorded today. Live streams that I was just flipping through. We gonna crack on them. We gonna talk about them. But there's an older woman towards the end of the live stream recording that I got, and she said people go in her comments to troll her, to irritate her, or whatever, just to get attention. That's the same difference when someone goes out of their way to make themselves something they're not for attention. That's how I see it. I'm sorry if that offends you. That's how I see it. That's how a lot of other people see it. It's a trend. It's attention. That's what you want someone to buy into, what you want them to buy into, even if they don't buy into it. And if they don't buy into it, somehow they're the problem. They're the bad guy. That's what's truly questionable. Now, let's get to that video. I'm going to start with this one right here. Now, this throws me off because they're like, I'm 16. It's a kid's app. It's cool, whatever. But they're like, that he, him, it's clearly a girl. Don't pull the minor card, whatever. You don't get to play that. Female to trans, whatever, and bisexual. So that really doesn't make sense. How are you female to male and bisexual? So you want to be both things and you like both genders? You want to be both genders and you like both genders? That's just weird to me, bro. And because it's a child, that's extra. You know what I mean? Now, when they go pro gun control, they're not old enough to own a gun. Pro choice, they don't even, sounds like they don't want to have kids if they want to be a man, because you won't be able to have kids because you won't have a penis. And if you get pregnant, then you're going to be a woman. So it's a whole weirdo little situation going on. And then ACAB and BLM. So it's pro all cops are bastards and BLM. See, that's weird to me, because a lot of people that are pro ACAB call the police when they're in danger and need the police. It's really funny. Now, this right here, LGBTQIA plus rights, whatever rights, they have the same rights as everyone else does. They just try to make it sound like they don't. Oh, people discriminate against me, rah, rah, rah. It's because you want to choose your fucking sex today and then choose your gender tomorrow. Oh, and then if they don't agree with what you want them to agree with, they're all of a sudden a piece of shit and they're somehow discriminating against you when there was no really discrimination going on, period. Let's keep it 100. Now, this one really made me laugh. Christian churches should take criticism and acknowledge trauma. Vaccines should be mandated in some fields, another topic. So let's go to the Christian part right here. Christian churches should take criticism and acknowledge trauma. So the church, the building should acknowledge your trauma, is what you're saying? Or the pastor should acknowledge your trauma, or the congregation should acknowledge it, because it's your trauma to deal with, not the church's. And do I personally believe that churches cause trauma? No. I don't believe the building is going to cause you trauma in the least. I don't believe the book is going to cause you trauma either. Now, when we speak on the Catholic churches, yeah, there are some horrible pastors out there that did some real fucked up things to little girls and boys. Fucked up. Heinous type fucking crimes, you know what I mean? And then just get them moved around, this, that, the other. But I see a lot of people go after Christian churches. They go after the religion of Christianity because their religion itself, I'm sorry, but people don't like Bryson Gray, but Bryson Gray makes good points. The Bible is not going to move around what you want it to move around. The Bible is not going to tell you what you want it to tell you. The Bible is written. Now, I've seen people say it's fables, the stories told by man, this, that, all that extra shit. You can believe what you want. I believe it's the word of God. So when the Bible tells me you're not supposed to murder, you're supposed to respect your neighbors, you're not supposed to be a thief, all these things, I take that. I listen to that, and I try to abide by it the best I can. Just like when it says man better not lie with man. Again, I never wanted to lie with a man. Never thought about it. But there's cats that have and wish that they didn't. You know what I mean? So when someone tells the churches need to accept criticism, they do accept criticism. Christians are persecuted heavily in other countries. You can look up stories left, right, and center. There's entire villages of Christians that get wiped the fuck out. So again, this shows me that a child doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about. Because you're trans, you're queer, whatever it is, God made you funky and you don't like him for that. But you're not trying to be who you really are. You're trying to be something that you want to be, and that's not what you truly are. That's just how I look at it. Now, that could hurt that a person's feelings. That could make them upset. All that shit. I don't care. I'm not saying that you don't have a right to exist. I'm not saying that you're not valid. I'm not saying that you should be cast away. I'm not saying none of that shit. What I'm saying is the way you feel and the way you perceive your life, you cannot force that on other people, impose that on other people, and expect those people to accept you and or treat that as 100% what you want it to be. That's not how life works. That's not how the game works. And when I mean the game of life. Now we're gonna listen to what that person had to say because it was interesting. Listen to this.
Win because Gen Z got old enough to vote.
They just said that's why Trump lost is because Gen Z was old enough to vote. Just so y'all know.
Gen Z was put through so much as a kid that we all got way more mature than we were supposed to be. We know more than you think that we do.
No, you don't.
I don't know shit about communism, so I'm not gonna talk about it.
Okay, I say it like that because Gen Z, I got family members that are Gen Z, man. And the only thing I see difference with Gen Z and millennials were the guinea pigs for Xanax and Adderall in the depression, the ADHD. We were the guinea pigs for all that. So now Gen Z comes into play, and we were already the guinea pigs. So all the shit that didn't really work on us, they kind of just shoved down Gen Z's throat. That's why there's so many people that scream about depression and anxiety, and I got ADHD, I got this, I got that, I got this, I got that. But that's not why that's not why Trump lost. Trump did not lose because of Gen Z. That's a really ballsy statement. It's a really bad take, too. Because that person's not even old enough to vote. So how did they lose? How did Gen Z cost Trump the election? The only thing that I see to take from it is people like this person that are a part of the generation Gen Z only read headlines and they are take in as fact whatever echo chamber they're a part of says. So if the echo chamber that this person's a part of says, Trump lost because of Gen Z, they believe that shit, no questions asked. You know what I mean? Gen Z did not cost anybody election because if they were costing people elections and getting people elected, then what happened in Virginia? You know what I mean? Like, come on now. How come the Democratic golden star that was pandering and for wokeness to everybody didn't get elected? Because Gen Z didn't have shit to do with it. You think Gen Z is waking up to go vote? Hell no, they worried about taking that Xanax or that Valium to get through the day. I'm always keep it a buck. Or they're worried about what trend they're going to ride next. Or what bandwagon will show them the attention that they believe they so deserve. You know what I mean? Now, I'm not coming at this person because I think they're bad, nothing like that. I'm saying what you said. You brought it up. You put it on the screen and you stood by that shit. But half that shit you said, you spoke on, you have no say in it because you're not even an adult. So when it comes to gun rights, churches, rights, pro-choice, you're not even old enough to have a say in any of it, nonetheless to want to have a debate on that shit. Because as you can see, when they're like, well, Trump lost because of Gen Z, your takes are bad, and it really shows you really don't know what you're talking about. And some of the stances you're taking, when you're like, I don't know anything about communism, so I'm not going to speak on it. You might not want to speak on some of the shit that's on your screen because you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I'm just saying.
Being able,
Rachel Maddow is getting dragged right now because of a take she had. This, I think, was April 2021. So this was almost a year ago coming up now, you know what I mean? So let's see what she got to say.
it means that instead of the vaccine being able, it means instead of the virus being able to hop from person to person to person to person, spreading and spreading, sickening some of them, but not all of them. And the ones that it doesn't sicken don't know they have it. And then they give it to even more people because they didn't recognize they were, right? Instead of the virus being able to hop from person to person to person, potentially mutating and becoming more virulent and drug resistant along the way. Now we know that the vaccines work well enough that the virus stops with every vaccinated person.
That's a lie and a half. That's a lie and a half. And this is why she went from a daily show to a weekly show because of how many lies she was pushing. Let's keep it on. Nobody was tuning into her bullshit. Except the echo chamber that she's a part of. And I think Rachel Maddow and MSNBC have really done a disservice to people, into journalism, into reporting, that will be hurting that field for years to come. We have all seen that it doesn't matter if you're vaccinated or unvaccinated, the virus is going to mutate and do what the fuck it's going to do. And that's how we ended up with the Omicron or whatever it's called, virus variant that was started by vaccinated people. And I know vaccinated people hate to hear that, but I'm sorry. When every report, when it first started popping up, said, people that got it were fully vaccinated, people that got it were fully vaccinated, people that got it were fully vaccinated, and you're going to try to say everybody that's vaccinated, automatically COVID stops with them, and that's why everybody should be vaccinated? The lies they weave.
A vaccinated person gets exposed to the virus does not infect them. The virus cannot then use that person to go anywhere else.
Lies.
It cannot use a vaccinated person as a host to go get more people.
Lying ass.
That means the vaccines will get us to the end of this if we just go fast enough to get the whole population.
There will never be a day where everybody in the United States is vaccinated. It just is not going to happen. It's not. And when we see Rachel Maddow take this stance, and mind you, this is a year ago, so we'll give her a little credit. It's a year ago, what the variants, the Delta variant and the Omicron variant hadn't really ran rampant yet. But to still make that conclusion, to take all the things we knew back then, I take all of it, and that's the deduction you get from it, that's the conclusion you get. You lying. And you want people to believe the lie. You want people to believe that lie wholesale. You know what I mean? That you want them to take that and run with it as if it's the fact of the fact of the fact. And it's not. And she lied after lie after lie after lie. And right now she's getting dragged like a motherfucker across Twitter because of this statement, because of the stance she took. That's not, she has that coming. Let's keep it a buck. Let's keep it 100. Now, these things is wild. Now, there's not really a whole lot of sound. I kind of just did it I wanted to show people what was going on, and I recorded this today. It's Tim Pool said the NYPD and all who supports them are cowards. Let's pull up another. Now, Michael Malice, he's been on Tim Pool a lot, a fair amount, I should say, maybe not a lot, but he's been on Tim Pool a fair amount, and he's talked about this particular statement a few times. There is no law so obscene that the police would not be willing to enforce it, up to and including mass execution of innocent children. Now, in the situation we're in New York, I don't think they're close to massacring children. But as you can see here in this video, they're arresting 2 men that went to a Burger King and were unvaccinated. So Burger King called the police came and arrested them. There's another video going viral right now of a little kid, that we're going to get there, but it's of a little kid that didn't have the vaccine, but the parents or something did. The police came in, was going to make them all leave, going to enforce that shit. Now, what Tim Pool is saying is the police shouldn't be enforcing edicts and mandates that aren't laws, and it's not right. And one of the biggest arguments to that is a year ago in 2020, summer of 2020, fall of 2020, basically the whole year of 2020, you had the police hands were tied like a motherfucker. They watched how many buildings burn. They watched how many people loot. They watched how many crimes take place. None of them broke rank to go arrest anybody. None of them broke anything. None of them busted a nut. None of them busted a sweat to go enforce the laws that based on the oath they took, right? So when we see people getting arrested, being escorted out, being turned away because they're not vaccinated, and then you see the police enforcing the edict of a mayor that is getting ready to leave office, Bill de Blasio, it really makes you fucking wonder about backing the blue. Now, I've always said that, I've never met a good cop, but I hold out hope. I hold out faith that I'll one day meet a good cop in a situation that could be bad, I guess, I hold out hope. And I've said it before that I think all the good cops are being overshadowed by the actions of the bad apples in those forces. Now, I've also said that you cannot act like every bad cop is Hank Voight or every good cop is Serpico. You cannot act like that because that's not the truth. There's a lot of cops that break the rules. There's a lot of cops that bend their oath, bend the law, this, that, the other. There's a lot of bad cops that'll steal your money, plant drugs on you, plant a gun on you, have you charged for shit you had nothing to do with, you know what I mean? So there's a difference in the word. There's differences in bad cops and evil cops, you know what I mean? And then you got good cops that will see what's going on and not speak on it. Just like we see in Chicago PD. How many of the people in the intelligence unit for Hank Voight know he's a dirty cop and knows he plays by his own set of rules? But yet they're still okay with it. Because what his rules are, all the real dirty shit he does, they don't really know about it. So do you think all the bad cops are out here really telling all the good cops what they're doing as bad? No. That being said, the good cops, or do quotations, when they go into a restaurant to tell a family, you can't eat here because your child is not vaccinated, you guys need to leave, or you went to go get a Whopper and they're going to make you get on your hands and knees so they can arrest you because you wanted a fucking Whopper and just that's all you wanted. Flags need to be raised. You know what I mean? Something needs to come to light because that's not okay. It's not all right. It's quite frightening to say the very least. And when we have cops that go out on a limb to enforce edicts they don't need to enforce, these cops could have turned down that phone call. And a good question is, why is there so many cops? Why is there so many cops in this picture? You know what I mean? Why is there one here, one back there, one right here? Why is there so many cops involved for just two people? You know what I mean? That's really suspect to me. And then you have this guy right here saying they should have complied. They did comply. They got arrested and they took that shit on the nose. You know what I mean? And then, and then Timmy also said that NYP and all who support them are cowards. You are entitled to your opinion. But then this guy, like Tim Young said, there's a crime wave in New York City, so it makes perfect sense to send a dozen cops to arrest a man for not showing his vaccine card in a Burger King. Do you see the double standard hypocrisy right there? And a lot of these cops are okay with that double standard. They're okay with that hypocrisy, and they shouldn't be, but yet they are. And this is the situation we find ourselves in. And that's something that I think me, you, and the next guy could actually speak on and shine some light to it because it's really fucked up. You're willing to enforce an edict about a vaccine card that didn't want to be shown over a fucking Whopper, but you're not willing to stop the crime when motherfuckers are running into all these high-end stores, looting, smashing, and grabbing. You know what I mean? Come on now. And when LAPD said we arrested 14 people out of all the hundreds that robbed these stores, y'all really doing your job, huh? Shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? Like, that's wild to try to say crime's down and we arrested 14 people when it's still happening. And then you got New York doing this shit. It's wild. And then you got people that are still like, we got to back the blue without question. Nah, man, everything needs to be questioned at some point, especially if the stuff they're doing raises red flags. That's my opinion. Now, he said they should have complied. Like Dante Wright should have complied. Like Jacob Blake should have complied. Like George Floyd should have complied. Should they have done this to comply? Because that's complying. Right there, that's complying. Think about that for a second. So is it only okay when certain people need to comply? Or should everybody have to comply? These are the double standards that people really try to push. Now, I go a little bit further, and then he goes, Lydia said, the absolute cowardice on a level I never thought I'd see in my own country. Bill de Blasio, is a dictator. The NYPD got on their knees to suck him off. Now, Tim would never say these things on his actual channel because he would get taken down for that shit. We already know that. Now, I already spoke on the Michael Malice thing because this is something he brought up. Now, here's the other one. Look at this little boy. They're making this little boy stand up. He just want to leave. Looks like he wants to leave, man. I don't know if this is his mom right here. I don't know if this is his mom, because another lady shows up and gives him a hug. But look how many cops are in this bitch. I'll enlarge the video in a second. But look how many cops are in there. Look, cop here, 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 here. You know, like, I mean, come on. And they're talking mad shit to these cops in this video.
This is disgusting. This is gross.
You guys failed us last night. You failed us last.
All they did was traumatize that kid. That's all they did. That's all they did. And then here's another argument that I see so many people make. When you ask someone to leave and they don't, it's considered trespassing. At that point, they have the right to call the cops. It's sad, but it's no longer about the mask at that point. Now, I understand that you can have that belief. You can have that. And then this person right here, thank you, traumatizing. Yeah, right. Don't want to get vexed, stay home, simple. NYPD has had enough. Okay, so the NYPD, when they got water dumped on them, well, they had enough then? What about when Minneapolis burnt the fuck down? What about when Chicago was burnt the fuck down? What about when the riots was happening in New York, Texas, California, all over the motherfucking nation, all over the world? What about all the people that looted Target, Cub, the tobacco store, the liquor stores, the bars, the restaurants, Chipotle? How many of those people should have been arrested for just trespassing, or should they just went home? See, that's that dumbass double standard, that dumbass hypocrisy that so many people spew out there, because it's the cops are doing the right thing now, but when they should have been doing the right thing a year ago, they were castrated for it. That's the exact word. They were castrated by pretty much every woke governor and mayor across the fucking nation when it came to defund the police. And now they want to go enforce an edict. They want to go enforce that you need to wear a mask or you need to show a vaccine card. That shit's wild. But this is the world in which we live in, you know what I mean? This is the world in which we have to deal. This is the world in which we have to accept. And when you have people like those two assholes on Twitter, you know, the NYPD's had enough. I would assume the NYPD's had enough of the woke mob over what that kid and that family did. Now, I understand those cops probably hated having to do that, but they shouldn't have did it to begin with. And that's the problem. They shouldn't have did it to begin with, but yet they did. But they didn't stop half the rioting they could have stopped, or half the looting they could have stopped. They didn't stop any of that. But the left refuses to see that hypocrisy. They refuse to see the double standard. And if they do see it, they have a reason to ask why it's okay, and why it's okay that they did it. That's what's fucking baffling. And then here, we're just going to scroll through here quickly.
A lot of mental health issues.
So this is clearly a female that wants to be referred to as he and they, which again is nuts. And what they were talking about to begin with was depression in the trans community and how it can lead to other types of anxiety and depression issues, manic, you know what it is. That's what they were getting at. Commonly oppressed. I guess someone didn't like that she said they were oppressed, because they're not oppressed. Trans people are not oppressed.
Thank you, Kenna, for the follow.
And right there, that's something right there. It said, does that include MAP, minor attracted persons? That's something that the trans community can't just walk away from, because when they say we're all accepting, we're all inclusive, you're also including motherfuckers that are openly okay with pedophilia. And that shit's not okay in any sense of the motherfucking word, but yet here we sit. Here we hear, you know what I mean? That's what's fucked up. And so when someone, as the person on the screen says, you're not oppressed, your entire community is not fucking oppressed. Because they're not. No one is going out of this. Now, maybe in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, maybe there was people that were out there going out of their way to make anybody that was gay, lesbian, trans, whatever, make their life a living fucking hell. But I highly doubt that's happening in the 2020, 2019, 2018, 2017. I'd say all the way going back to 2013 when they went for gay marriage. Because that's really when the woke train really started to get some traction. And to use the word oppressed is wild, because People that use the
And
word oppressed are normally actually oppressed, not just assuming they're oppressed. And that's what this is doing, assuming they're oppressed. And they're not. Why are people so fixated on pronouns saying they don't matter? If they are irrelevant, stop. That's because they keep getting pushed down our throats. As I started with the first video, you have a woman saying that two kids are talking about pronouns. Yeah, no, it's people are fixated on it because of how nonsensical it truly is, because of how ridiculous it is, because of how idiotic it is. But yet, they still try to jam it down your throat. You misgendered me. You dead named me. Fuck you. Pretty simple, right? Now we're just gonna keep going. I don't try to sit on any of the lives longer than per se need be, because I don't really care what they're talking about. I just, when I see this shit, I always know it's gonna be a gas, because that's what you're starting with.
Black lives matter. Brown lives matter. Indigenous people matter. Queer people matter. Everybody matters. Can you explain Black Liberation Matters, please? Okay. So the phrase Black Liberation Matters.
Even there, right there, my pronouns are they, them, king. No. And then, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna be a dick. When you wanna have a debate, you don't get to say with me. It's with me. Have a debate with me, not with me. That's like trying to say I'm finna do it. I'm finna. Shut up. You're doing too much. And then respect over ego. The left is some of the most egotistical, ego-ridden motherfuckers I have ever met in my life. And motherfuckers that talk about their pronouns and this, that, the other, they're ego-fucking-tistical is what they are. Because it's all about them. It's always been about them. It's always going to be about them.
What that means to me, it means that we should liberate Black culture, Black people, and Black communities, especially the ones that are most marginalized. And I don't just mean Black as an African American. I mean like all type of Black culture or brown culture that was stolen from people, you know?
So that right there, I got to stop that right there, because when I hear people say that cultures were stolen, how? Now, I understand concrete, I understand war, I understand all that shit. But when you mean someone, you need to liberate your culture, the United States is a melting pot of all cultures, of all religions, of all ethnic backgrounds. So when you play that game, and I know what she's doing, oh, all Black and brown people need to be liberated. It's because you don't want to pinpoint where your idea is. You don't know what your idea is. You put it on your talking points, but you really don't even know what it is. That's why when it says respect over egos, but then you got your pronouns in the bottom, come on now. No. And I don't like people like that. And I say it like that because I'm not saying you're a bad person, but I think you're being disingenuous, and I think you're acting in bad faith. I think you're having a debate in bad faith without even realizing it. I think you're being disingenuous without even realizing you're being disingenuous. But when you talk about liberation and, people to be liberated, you're talking about people like in Taiwan. You're talking about people like in the cartel-ridden fucking cities in Mexico. Like, people that are really under some extreme things need to be liberated. Need to have independence, you know what I mean? But when you say a culture does, because it was stolen, what's your point? Like, what are you getting at? What Black culture was stolen? Are you talking about white kids that decided to sag their pants and listen to rap music in the 90s and 2000s? They were called Wigger every day. I was called a Wigger for like 3 years. Me and my Black friends laughed at it. It was kind of funny. But when you talk about liberating cultures, that's so backwards. And the fact that you go out when you just says all people, everybody matters, but you only name selective people, selective groups, it shows not all people matter really true to you. It's just who you name. And that's why I think these live streams are so funny, because you get people that turn that phone on and think they're about to have the best moment of their life. And it really turns into a shit show because they don't know what they're talking about. They throw words together and hope that they hope it makes sense. They hope that what their little ideas, they hope that they can make their ideas make sense to the people because they don't make sense. That's why that one comment said maybe she means African Americans, because whatever ideas she's articulating aren't making it through to the people in the comments. But yet that's supposed to be the base that's stroking that respect over your ego. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy to me. And when I seen her live, it's what she was saying that made me want to record it. But it has to do with the debate topics. That's where it all stems from, is the debate topics. It doesn't matter really what the person looks like. Sometimes it's funny to crack jokes, but it depends on what they're saying. And that's where I say, like, when you're talking about, like, it said, the bottom one said, police protect property. They do. Unless it's BML or Antifa rioting, and then the property is, I guess, up for fucking grabs. Now, this one was funny, too.
Protect themselves and let it die out.
So again, we got someone that's pro-choice. Boom. They're a leftist. They're British and they're pro-vaccine. No COVID deniers allowed. Now, COVID has been going for a long time, seemingly now. And I don't know anybody that would still deny. Now, I know people that will say it's not as bad as some make it out to be. And I'm one of those people. I had COVID and I don't think it was as bad as it was made out to be. I'm sorry, but when the sister from Thousand Pound Sisters, Tammy, can survive COVID, I don't want to hear about how it's so deadly. I'm not buying into it. I'm sorry. And when I know there's 80-year-olds that have emphysema, that can't barely breathe on their own, survived COVID, you're not going to tell me it's as serious as you want it to be. And if that offends you, that's on you. That's not on me. If I offended you, you can't control your emotions. Quit being so impulsive. You know what I mean? Try to be an adult. Try to understand that some people's views may not be the same as yours. Some people's opinions may not be the same as your opinions. And you need to respect mine if I need to respect yours. But a lot of motherfuckers on the left and the radical left will never respect anything that I have to say because they don't like anything that I stand for. But they want me to bow and respect everything that they stand for, even though whatever they stand for changes on a weekly fucking basis. This is the older lady I was talking about earlier. Let's run it.
And I you, so you're blocked. Get it. Get what? What are you asking me to get? I'm blocking you if you don't tell me what you're talking about. Oh, here we are back again with the material girl bullshit. In this account, you got 137 followers, and you're following 2,043. I respect that you're following people, but you must be a disrespectful person, so I'm blocking you again.
Now, I don't mean to be mean to this lady, but I believe she's abusing the block button. And I say it like that because I think the block button and the report button get abused way too motherfucking often. I think people block people when they don't like what they have to say. Like if you're obviously going live and people are, oh, this shit again, you said something. Something came up once before where they called you a material girl. You said something. People don't just come up with that shit out of nowhere, especially on a live stream. Like, let's keep it a buck. And when you go on someone's page, like you only have 137 followers, but you follow 3,000 people. I'm happy you follow people. You were going to try to discredit that person because they don't have as many followers as you do. And that's funny to me. A lot of people on the left, I've seen people want to have debates like you have to have 500 plus followers to debate me, and they got like 700 followers. Like somehow your followers don't make your opinion and don't make what you have to say any more or any less relevant or valid. I got 166 followers on TikTok. I got 800 plus on Clapper. I got 1,600 on Parler. I got like 80 on Twitter. I got like maybe 40 or 50 on Instagram. And I got like 3 people that follow my Hotbox Talk Facebook page. But none of those followers take away from what I'm actually saying. If you like what I got to say, that's cool. Rock with it. Share it. Do what you want to do. If you don't rock with it, cool. I don't give a fuck. But if you try to use my followers to base an argument, it just shows you're being disingenuous from the very start. Because people think that followers somehow make the opinion more or less valid. And that's not the truth. And what I also know is motherfuckers try their hardest to say, when Trump was in office, if you didn't have enough followers, they'd be like, you're a Russian bot. You're a Russian bot. You're a troll. Even if what I was saying had nothing to do with being trolling. You know what I mean? And then I was like, you don't even have a profile picture. I do have a profile picture. It says Hotbox Talk. I'm trying to advertise my show. I'm trying to get people to listen to my show. I don't care if you know what I look like. You can go fuck yourself. I think I have a face for radio. And if you think my followers are going to somehow make my opinion more or less valid, it just shows how low your IQ truly is and shows how disingenuous you truly are, which is a sad, sad day. Now, I know, I don't know her name. I think she goes by Alyssa Mulatto on TikTok, and she went by the skin tag that Tizzy called her, and she went by another name. But she had said the same thing. People really go out on a limb and say, you only got so many followers, so what you're saying really doesn't make any sense, doesn't mean anything. Like, shut the fuck up. In my personal opinion, if I could add all my followers together, I probably would have more followers than a lot of people that try to comment on my shit, talking shit. You know what I mean? But that doesn't matter. Because those are just people that want to hear me ramble, talk shit. Or they like the content. Or they dislike the content and just want to follow on the hate train. Having followers or not having followers doesn't make or break the conversation, and it doesn't make or break the debate. But for the radical left, it truly does. Now, someone even said here on the bottom right here, we're gonna stop, we're gonna pull it up right here. Someone needs to take your phone away. And that's the truth. Someone really does need to take your phone away. And I love pausing the screen. Look how crazy she fucking looks, bro. Looking crazy as shit. Now let's run it.
So I'm blocking you.
People that lived through.
Now this is, again, I always pause it. We're LGBTQ plus, lesbians, T4T, I don't know what the fuck that means. Becca is adopted. Casey is part of the kept. Abortion is healthcare. No, it's not. Pro-vaccine, pro-mask. ACAB, BLM. Adoption is trauma. And she's going to talk about adoption and how people are paying more money to make it so they get the kids or whatever. That's not what I'm talking about. I don't think she really gives a rat's ass about kids in the system at all. I just don't. But what I am going to say is, when people say abortion is healthcare, okay. Abortion's healthcare for the women that truly need to have an abortion, not for women that choose to have an abortion or want to have an abortion, but for those that need to have the abortion because it may cost them their life or cost them the baby's life. That's where I would sit with that. And then another one is pro-vaccine, pro-mask. I see a lot of people act like those things, two things are synonymous. They're really not. You want to wear a mask? You go for it. You want the vaccine? You go for it. If you want to wear a mask and you don't want to be vaccinated, you go for it. If you want the vaccine and don't want to wear a mask, you go for it. You see how they really don't have much to do with each other? Except for when you have to go to the doctor, you got to wear a mask to get the vaccine. And when you say you're pro those things, 2 years ago, before COVID, would you have been pro wearing a mask? Would you have been as pro-vaccine as you are now? Because, we can look back in time. There was a lot of years before vaccines were ever even a thing where motherfuckers was living. You know what I mean? Come on now. And then masks, there was in some states, it's a law to wear a mask in stores because it could be a misdemeanor because they could think you're going to be a thief or maybe a bank robber type shit. You know what I mean? So when people say they're pro it, I think that's a reach because the arguments they have when it surrounds those two things, pro-vaccine, pro-mask, it always is going after anti-vaxxers, people that didn't want the vaccine, people that never wanted to wear the mask, or people that are against the mask. They don't have an actual reason as to why they're pro-vaccine or pro-mask. And if they are preaching a pro-vaccine type thing, they kind of sound like Rachel Maddow did. And that's most of them. I'm sorry, but that's the truth. I have yet to hear a person make an argument when it comes to COVID and getting the vaccine that makes any fucking sense. Because when you're vaccinated, you can still get sick, you can still die from the sickness, and you can still pass the sickness. But when I get the polio vaccine, I'm not going to die from polio, and I'm not able to pass on polio. Do you see how the vaccine doesn't really make fucking sense? And I know there's a million people out there that see the same way I do. But yet, you have people that preach, I'm pro this, I'm pro that. Shut up. And then when it said adoption is trauma, I don't want to hear her, but I want to see if she moves her head so I can get the bottom one. I don't think she does. I love when people do that. They make a list so long their head fucking blocks the majority of the list. Do I think adoption is trauma? No. I think there's a lot of people out there. I know a few people that have been adopted, and that's the best life they've ever had. That's the only life they've ever known. So when someone says adoption is trauma, I think that's a very ballsy statement to make. Now, do you think adoption is trauma? Answer me in the comments. I don't think when you make statements like that, adoption is trauma, I don't think you really realize what statement you're making. Just like when people say they're against the cops. They're against the cops, but they're for Black Lives Matter. And then I think it's in this one. We're gonna let it run. Someone said, You're against the cops till I'm in your house. You know what I mean? And that's the truth. I don't know if I have the video. I'm gonna try to find it. But there's a video of someone trying to burn a flag with the police standing there. Trying to stand on, trying to stand on a flag, light it, whatever. Oh, I should play what she said. Hold on.
Until that
Let's let her
vaccine
talk.
became available. So I'd rather not hear nonsense.
I want to hear about it.
That's where I wrote. She said, I don't want to hear nonsense. First off, she's going to read some nonsense because she's not talking to anybody except her husband in the background. But she's talking about people that don't want to get the vaccine, this, that, the other. And like I said, it always comes back to that. It always comes back to that in these conversations. People, you can't get everybody to want to get a vaccine. You can't get everybody to want to jump in line. And we've proven that. We've seen that. It's just not going to happen. But those people still get ostracized and put in whatever group that these radical assholes can put them in because they don't like the choice that they're going to make. But we're all supposed to be okay with all these choices she wants to make. And we're supposed to respect all these choices that she wants to make. But she can't respect just one choice that we want to make. That's the hypocrisy that so many motherfuckers live in. And when you see her name, trans mom, lesbian moms. So, that's just weird to me, bro. Instead of just being trans, now you got to be lesbian and trans. You know what I mean? Like it seems like it's so much more attention seeking, so much more. I need to be in this group. That's what it really seems like to me. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, but that's what it seems like. And someone told her right here something she said was not the same, and then to stop speaking on it, because I think what a lot of these people do in these live streams is they speak on things they really don't understand. They might understand the gist of it. They might have heard about it. They want to shed their opinion on it. They want to share their opinion with the masses. And then the masses are like, shut the fuck up because you don't even know what you're talking about. And then they don't take the hint. They're like, it bugs me because you're so far gone. You're so far in your own world. You're so far against everyone else that doesn't stand for what you stand for. They're automatically the villain and somehow you're Batman. It's crazy to me. And that's just how the fuck I see it. You know what I mean? Now, I'm gonna let it play out.
But it is.
I don't want to hear no more she got to say. Because her moderator's like, for those who won the fight with the mod, you will be muted. See, they don't want, none of these people want to hear any kind of opposing view. None of that shit. None of that shit. They just don't want to hear it. And then this person right here, they said, my immunocompromised self loves the ableism of people thinking it's all a choice of freedom. It is all a choice of freedom. It's your choice to be afraid. It's your choice to stay in the house. And it's your choice to wear a mask. It's your choice to get the vaccine. It's my choice not to, and it's my choice not to get the vaccine. And I'll keep it 100 motherfucking all day. This person right here, this person, and her husband that was back there. Not one of those people give a fuck. Or her brother or whatever the fuck it was. None of those people give a fuck about anybody that they don't know. That is a fact. Because if she did, she wouldn't be an asshole to all the people in the chat that don't agree with her bullshit. that don't agree with her opinions, that don't agree with what she wants you to agree with. And see, that's where compassion, empathy, and sympathy go out the fucking window, because they're only talking points. They're only words that they use when they need it to fit the narrative they're pushing. Oh, everybody should get the shot because it's compassionate and it's empathy for the next person. This person right here does not give a fuck that I got COVID and I smoked a pack of cigarettes a day, smoked bud, lived my life. They did not give a fuck about that. They probably wished I would have died because I don't believe in the same things they believe in. But for this person to expect me to bow and believe that they need all the safety precautions, period, because of the issues they have to deal with, that's bullshit. I don't know them. I don't know them from Adam. I don't know them from down the street, and I will never ever fucking meet them. So the idea that I'm somehow supposed to feel all of a sudden compassionate and empathetic to somebody I don't know and go on a limb to help somebody that I don't know is bullshit. And it does not make fucking sense. But it's a nice, cute talking point. Oh, we're all in this together. We're all compassionate. No, you're not. You're only compassionate when it fits you. You're only empathetic when it fits you. You're only sympathetic when it fits you and or your narrative and or your fucking agenda. Now, this is the final video I got for this little stream right here. Now, this is clearly oh, right there. Oh, damn. Let me pull it back up. Right there. A cab till I get into your house. Right there. I knew it was that. That's where they said it, because how come we don't have polio vaccine boosters? That's a good point. Now, I don't know why he kept saying this piece right here. I don't know why he said it twice. He probably ended up getting muted or blocked. But this is a good question right here, especially when you're talking about this. Or you're talking about healthcare. And here's a good question. When she talks about Black Lives Matter, does she also preach this to the black community that does not want to get the vaccine and does not want to wear the mask? Or does she only preach it when it's convenient? Let's keep it rolling. Okay, come on now. People ask what her pronouns are, this, that, the other.
I'm very natural.
That threw me off insanely. And then I read their name. I'm Clay, baby. Weird as fuck name. Something else I had to point out is this Adam's apple. That shit is more defined than most men I've ever seen in my life. And their voice is as deep as I brought up earlier in this episode. Fucking insane.
I don't even really like to put foundation on.
Clearly we know. Clearly we know.
Can you say hi, Ashley? Big J39, thank you very much for the roses. I appreciate that.
And that's one of the things that I had to just, when I thought about it, I was like, that shit's wild, bro. There's so many people, so many guys, so many girls that want to be something they're not. And they go on the internet and seek the attention and the bandwagon fan ego stroking that they'll get. It's almost sickening. You know what I mean? And if you're going to act like a woman, why don't you change your voice? Why don't you keep that Adam's apple shaved the fuck down? Like, it's fucking baffling to me, bro. And I'm not saying it to be evil to these people, nothing like that. But it's baffling as fuck. You know what I mean? And there's actually one thing that I wanted to end on. Yesterday, I was blocked from TikTok for this comment. They are all methed out. This was on the Misfit Patriots live stream. He was talking about where all the trolls and haters were, and I said they're all methed out. Well, I got banned for that shit. And that's not what bugged me. What bugged me was this part. I guess I don't have it, but there's this, I don't know what her name is, the Goddess Barbie or something. She has blue and red hair, and she went viral. I talked about it briefly, argued with this dude on her page, whatever, but she was this person said people like you, and I was like, to me, when you say people like you, that's just as bad as saying you people. That's just as bad. And I know people that say the exact same thing. And then she used the okay sign. And when I said that, we trying to act racist, someone was like, that's not racist. It was a 4chan joke. I know it's not. It's called I was being sarcastic. Now, you can't tell that through the comments, and you can't tell that through the screen, but it showed me how many people pick and choose the trends that they try to ride on. I guarantee half the people say, oh, what's not racist, said it was racist after 4chan put it out. They were mad when Kyle Rittenhouse threw it up. They were mad that the Proud Boys took it as their own little symbol. They were mad about that shit. But it's funny how how they try to flip the script. And Goddess of Gains is her name. And it was the video where she's on the plane eating. So if you want to go look at that shit, that's where it is. And but it made me laugh because the person really thought that they were gonna be on the right side of the argument when they truly weren't. You know what I mean? And it just shows so much stupidity on the left and the radical side of things. It was racist a year ago, but now it's not because you're using it. Okay, shut the fuck up. That's how I look at that. And I got one last video I want to bring up because I spoke on it. Right here. Listen to this. They stole my flag. They stole my property. So right there, it's fuck you for not doing your job, asshole, right? But when they're breaking your property, stealing your property, damaging your shit, they don't give a fuck. They hate the police till they need the police. You see what I mean? And that shit's just wild and crazy to me. And I wanted to put that out there last because so many people think that so many people really believe that all cops are bastards until they need those bastards to help them. And when I say a lot of people, I mean the radical left loves to preach all cops are bastards until they're on the phone with 911 getting mad at somebody that's probably a conservative or a centrist or someone that doesn't like the bullshit they're trying to pull off, and they interrupt it. Funny, isn't it? Just like when we see all these Antifa rallies, we see all these videos and we see Antifa getting the scuffles, this, that, the other, and then all of a sudden want the police to arrest the other side. Just as fucking hypocritical, just as double standard-ish. Just wanted to point that shit out, especially when we just went through a whole video of people saying, ACAB this, ACAB that, ACAB this. Funny, it's ACAB till you need the police. And on those notes, you already know what it is. Stay blazed, stay safe, stay blessed. Peace.